Hello executives, just a friendly reminder, 母亲节的特惠就在明天要结束咯。那如果你还想要来尝试上我们的课程，那请大家把握这个机会，我们在 show notes 下面也会有我们的连结 So go ahead and check out our classes, we'll see you guys in class. 你知道做简报的 opening 前还有个非常重要但常被忽略的动作吗？也就是 setting the tone。那就让我们来听听到底要如何运用我们的语言还有语气来设计你要的简报气氛。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. Now, for our May premium content, we talked a lot about presentation openers and gave several examples. But in our sharing session, we actually spent quite a bit of time talking about setting the tone of how to start a presentation. Even before you get to your opener, how you get the presentation going, how you get your meeting going can be greatly affected by the way that you set a tone. Whether you want this to be a very serious, pull up your shirt sleeves and let's focus kind of serious meeting, whether you want it to be a bit more casual to let the creative brainstorm flow, or whether you just really want a chatty, friendly, get to know you kind of vibe. All of these come from the very beginning before you even start or open your presentation.
真的，我觉得 setting the tone 是非常重要的一环，也是常常被忽略的一环。很多人在做 presentation 之前，尤其是一个很重要的 presentation， 自己心里非常紧张，可能觉得练习不太够，结果在刚开始就说 I'm so sorry, I haven't practiced for a long time, or my English is not really good. 结果讲完了这个，他们就想要进入这个正式的简报。But unfortunately, you already set the tone, right?
Yes, exactly. Your examples there, I've heard way too many times where people get on stage and like, oh, I'm really not used to doing this. Please bear with me. English is not my first language, so I hope that you can understand. Some people may assume this is about being humble, but a lot of times, as you said, this sets a tone for people not to expect much. And unless you're an amazing speaker secretly and you want to bring them up, you're not really setting them to have low expectations. You're setting them up to not want to listen to what you have to say because you're not very confident or you're not super clear on what it is you want to give them. So that right there is a tone setting.
Yeah, exactly. 所以当如果这样子的 presentation 之前就先讲了这些比较 I'm so sorry 这些比较 apologetic 的一些语言的话，其实你的 tone 就是我不是很有自信。那接下来如果你想进入到你的 presentation， 那如果今天又是面对很重要的人的话 unfortunately you already set the tone. And 我觉得这样子的方式呢，我很希望大家能够来做个改变吧。Let's change that. Let's use a different way to set the tone. The way I see it, I see that we are the decorator of our presentation, right? We can use our tone, use our language to design the way we want or how the presentation will go. 也就是呢，我们真的是可以利用自己的字啊、语言、语气来设计我们想要的简报的气氛。那接下来想给大家3种不同的 categories。那第一个也就是比较 casual， 但是还是专业。第二个就是非常正式。那第三个就是 really friendly and really chatty。
In the case of setting a casual but professional tone, a lot of times if you're in a room of like-minded professionals, sometimes our first inclination is to like, I need to show how awesome I am. But a lot of times, if these are people you know, or these are people who are on your level, creating an atmosphere of more brainstorming or sharing together is usually a good way to start rather than have everyone scrutinize or look carefully at everything you do. So using a tone like, before I begin, I just want to thank you guys for taking your time to join this meeting. This is really about sharing together, so feel free to stop me anytime during the presentation if you have questions or you want me to talk more about something.
Exactly. 那刚刚 Nick 有讲 feel free to stop me anytime, right? Feel free to stop me anytime. 那这个 concept 你就是 communicate 到了今天想要的方式不是那么的拘谨。虽然要专业，但是没有那么的拘谨。你希望大家在这个 meeting 当中，大家还是可以分享他的意见，而且是自由的方式。I see this as this happens a lot for internal meetings, right? You're having your meetings with your boss, you're with your colleagues. But yeah, so I definitely think that casual but professional, that's a really good way to set the tone for these type of meetings.
Another thing to notice is the word choicing of things like, I want to thank you guys. Now, you don't have to call everyone guys. Maybe you want to be more inclusive, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. But this sort of terminology, choosing things that are downplayed a little bit.
Yeah.
Helps to set that tone that this is not as serious. Otherwise, you see a lot of, for example, the president, every time they give a speech, is like, we want to formally thank all the ambassadors and visitors to our fair. That sort of tone and that choice of wording really makes it feel very formal. But when you switch out things, it's like, I really want to thank you guys for taking your time. Or I really appreciate that everyone took time from their lunch to come join. This is something that I've wanted to share for a long time. Even though, again, you may have very serious information or something specific you want to share, just these word choices and that tone of how you carry the opening will make it feel less like very statesman formal and more like a casual but informative presentation.
所以选择对的字 right? 我们如果讲 ladies and gentlemen 这听起来就非常的 formal 但是如果你讲 guys or you guys or everyone 这听起来就是比较 casual 好像大家好像是坐在一个 round table right? Having that conversation 那第二个呢也就是 formal 也就是正式的 presentation. So sometimes we do have to do this, right? In a large perhaps conference or symposium, and we need to make a very formal talk. So setting the tone here would also be incredibly important.
In a formal tone, you'll notice that most of your statements are very declarative. Like, I'm just giving information to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. So you'll hear a lot of people start with, thank you all for joining us for our presentation. I will be hosting a Q&A at the end of the presentation, so please reserve your questions for the end. Now, those just declarative statements right in a row makes it less casual. It's more like I'm standing on a podium and I'm letting you know what's going on. It sets that tone for what to expect throughout the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. 所以我们这边可以看到 OK 字选择的语言还有呢我们的语气我先讲到语气好了刚刚 Nick 有讲到 declarative 像这样子的 statement 我们之前可能有讲过语气跟语调这种 tone 这个 tone 呢通常 declarative 的 statement 我们这个 tone 调语气在结尾的时候它一定会下降 right? It declines.
Right.
It doesn't sound like a question.Thank you all for joining us for our presentation, right? It goes down. And I will be hosting a Q&A at the end of the presentation. Please reserve your questions towards the end. 痛调都会往下，所以就会让人家听起来是你非常有自信，而且呢，这个就是一个 statement。没有任何的 question. There's no questioning. This is what it is. And that's exactly how you're going to run your presentation.
Anytime that people use this, you'll often see that very strong declarative, and they'll usually throw time in there. Like, we have a lot to get through today. I want to be able to start and complete A, B, C. Again, that very downward tone, but also very short and sharp ending to each sentence doesn't leave room for questions. We're also comparing this to those previous, like, oh, you know, I'm very nervous about doing this. This is my first time. That very kind of long, like, this is my first time. I'm really kind of short, versus someone who's trying to be very formal, very sharp. Listen to me. We need to finish this within the structured amount of time. I will handle Q&A at the end. Please reserve your questions. Very short, very sharp.
所以大家注意了，我们在语气、语调跟语言的当中，你就可以营造了一个气氛出来了。接下来呢，有些人他常常会喜欢做这种比较 friendly 跟比较 chatty 一点的，就是很轻松式的 presentation。个人啦 I have to say personally 我比较少有这样子的机会，我觉得可能是个性。I think same for Nick。as well, but 有一些人是比较喜欢用这样子的方式来做他的简报。So again, it's really up to you guys how you guys wanted to do this or who your audience going to be. So that would change. But for friendly and chatty, of course, 你 setting the tone 就会跟刚刚的 formal 的这种 presentation 会差非常的多。
Actually, Andrew is probably the king of friendly and chatty presentation
styles. He would
styles.
Set the tone very clearly.
Yeah. Typically, if you ever see him before a workshop, before a presentation, and I'm not talking about like a very super formal event again, but anytime that we do trainings, workshops, or he gives speeches, before he gets on stage, he's usually out in the crowd, shaking hands, getting to know people, asking them why they came, and he'll just immediately set this atmosphere like, this guy is my friend. And then when he stands on stage, he continues that persona. And what it does is it makes people want to listen to him because they like him, not because he's the authority figure on stage. But it's just as an effective a way to grab attention and make sure people are in tune with you.
那当然，如果今天如果你要跟你同事啊，只是坐下来分享一些最近发生的事情 of course you can still use this very friendly and chatty way to do that. So the language here you can use is, hey everyone, I'm so happy that all of you guys are here. I just want to let you know that this is a very casual sharing just about what I've found in the past few months working here at the company.
Yeah, this tone, and you can use it a lot. So, for example, when I'm training workshops and we ask people to participate or share what they had come up with, and you get a lot of that silence.
Yeah.
But if you've set a nice, friendly, chatty tone at the beginning, I tend to throw in there and be like, look, the last person who shared is still alive. No one has ever died in the workshop. You know, feel free to share. That's why we're here. Just that sort of tone will keep people in a lighter mood, especially in these kind of awkward or nervous phases as well.
所以大家可能现在应该可以了解了，这种 setting the tone 它其实可以影响到很多，它不只是影响到你接下来的 presentation， 它甚至可以影响到你们听众的心情，还有下一个演讲者的心情跟他的 presentation. So try it out. 你可以试试看不同的方式，看哪一个比较适合你，看哪一个比较适合你自己的个性跟你所需要去呈现的这种气氛. So have fun with this.
Yes, we definitely encourage you to think carefully about not just what did I create in the content of my presentation, but before I get on stage or before I get started, how do I set the tone to make sure the room is in tune with me? Do I want to be casual but professional? Do I want to go full formal? Or is this going to be about friendly and chatty? We hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.